Welcome into the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up. The line's wrapped around the stadium. Different strengths. Mm-hmm. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill. Good feet on the old man.
Definitely come back. Oh, you know, I love.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. Welcome into a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet, just like we are every single day here. Check out our friends over at Ghost Chevrolet online, GEAUX, Chevrolet.com. Remember, down in LaPlace, Louisiana, they got dealerships up in Tennessee, and their truck selection, which is awesome, online, GEAUX, Chevrolet.com. Metropolitan Health Group, real doctors, real solutions, bringing you our phone lines every single day. Jason Ramazan and Charlie Harvey. Shout out to the crew over there where you can find them, Metropolitan Health Group. Today on the phone line, we're going to talk to Billy Embody, 7:30. It's National Signing Day. First Wednesday in February. Was always an enormous day, but now since the double signing period, this has lost a lot of its luster. So we'll talk to Billy Embody coming up here at 7:30. I don't know how active LSU is going to be today, even if at all. I mean, maybe a surprise.
I think that one defensive line is like the only target that they have, like high school wise. So
we'll see. We'll ask Embody, but we'll also get some names to look out for here on National Signing Day that could make a splash. So we will talk to Bill coming up here at 7:30. Jacques will be in studio with us at 8 a.m. as we'll talk to Jacques a lot about what's going on, obviously, with women's basketball beating Tennessee, setting up a tilt versus Georgia on Thursday night. We'll talk to Jacques about some of his National Signing Day stories. LSU basketball playing Missouri tonight. Tough place for LSU to try to get off the schneid. Losers of 8 straight. Tigers in a tailspin here right now, and it does not look like there's going to be a chance to get back on their feet. Even though Texas Tech, I don't know if you saw that, rallied
Yep.
the other day.
Kansas
big,
State?
Big, yeah. Beat K-State. That's a hell of a
Yeah, that's a big win.
That's a big win, man. But we'll see. LSU. Mailbag today. Remember, you can get your voicemails. You can get your text messages. You can get your calls in. Have a take, don't suck, 225-229-7741. 225-229-7741. Shea is scheduled to go today here on National Signing Day, so he will have his recruiting hour for you today on the channel. So make sure and stick around. Hit the like button, share button, comment button as we get going. And remember, if you've not subscribed, subscribe to the show. All right, big news yesterday. The Denver Broncos agreed. This came down late afternoon. It was while Nick Diaz was on the air with Out of My League. I saw that the news had break. Schefter had broken with the Denver Broncos, have agreed to terms to trade New Orleans Saints former head coach Sean Payton to the Broncos. The Broncos are going to give up their first-round pick, which is the 29th overall selection in this year's 2023 draft. They also give up next year's second-round pick for Payton. The Saints have to give up a third-round selection in the 2024 draft while releasing the rights to Sean Payton. My initial thoughts were that obviously you're able to get the first round pick back, right? The one that you lost, you gave up this year, and that was, I thought, very crucial. Even though the 29th overall selection, it's right there as a high second round pick. And you got to pick up the fifth year, or you have the built-in fifth-year option to a first rounder. I would have liked to have gotten two number ones from Denver, whether it was this year and next year, or however they wanted to space them out. I thought Sean Payton really was demanding that type of asking price, and for the leverage that the Saints had. I thought that they left a little bit on the table here. I'm not saying that the Saints got fleeced. I'm not saying that the Saints got totally upended on this thing. I mean, they still get a first-round selection. They get a next year second-round selection. I do totally disagree with sending them anything in return. Why would you have to give up a third-round draft selection and the coach? I mean, you have what they want. You've got Sean Payton. You shouldn't have to give up anything else after that. So that would be my only real big complaint of it. But overall, you get a number one pick this year, which you had to get, right? And 29th is, is a spot where they could make some moves. I've seen Hendon Hooker's name come up a lot as a possible quarterback that could be on the board for the Saints then. I'm not sure really on where they'll want to go as far as the 29th overall selection, but they do get the first-round pick back with Payton going to the Broncos. Next year's number 2 from Denver. And like we said, Saints give up their third-round selection next year and obviously give up Payton. So, look, I think that when you just look at it on the surface, that was my ultimate feeling. I thought that the Saints would have gotten two number ones in return for Sean Payton. I just thought that really over the last couple of days, the Broncos were really kind of running out of, they were running out of options. I think, people that were covering this head coaching search really said that the Broncos had fallen in love with DeMeco Ryans, but he was accepting the Houston Texans job. They were in talks with Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh decided he was going back to Michigan. They were kind of looking around saying, I don't know if they wanted to pay Sean Payton the demanding asking price that Payton is going to get. I think they're going to make Payton the highest paid coach in the league. I mean, that's going to be somewhere around $21, $22 million a year. They have to pay this guy. I mean, you think about what Sean McVay's making out in Los Angeles. And if you're going to make Payton the highest paid coach in the league, I mean, you're talking somewhere around $20.5 million a season. So, my biggest complaint would be that the Saints gave up an asset. Like, what you gave him the coach. You have the coach. Don't give him anything else. I mean, draft picks, that's the fuel to building the squad. And to give up a third next year just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But like I said, I think it kind of finds a little bit of balance when you're able to get a number 1 selection this year, a number 2 next year. I thought that you would have been able to get 2 number 1s. Let's put it on the poll, Stewie. How you feel about Saints losing Payton to Denver? And from Denver's standpoint, I think it's a really good fit for Sean Payton. First off, I mean, think about the Broncos the last couple of, at least last year. I mean, at times they had the number 1 defense in the league and the 32nd rated offense in the league. I mean, he can only go up. He can only succeed. And I think that he will get the best out of Russell Wilson. I don't know what Russell Wilson is now in his career, but with Sean Payton as his coach, with Sean Payton as his tutor, I like Russell Wilson a lot more today than I did yesterday. Because I think, Sean Payton working, very similarly with where he gets Russell Wilson in his career was kind of like right where he picked up with Drew Brees in New Orleans. Now, not in age. Russell is kind of mid-30s. Drew Brees was late 20s. But Brees was coming off of a horrific shoulder injury where nobody in the league really wanted to touch him. He was kind of damaged goods. Nobody really believed in him. I don't think New Orleans was his first destination when he, sat out and, went out in free agency. I don't think that he thought, New Orleans is going to be the place for me. I think Miami was more of a landing spot that he ultimately thought this is where he wanted to, build his family and build his future. But it just didn't work out like that because Miami didn't believe in him. And, for where Russell Wilson is now in his career, how many people believe in Russell Wilson? Not a lot. I mean, he has taken that one season in Denver and clouded a Hall of Fame career in Seattle. I mean, it was just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Wilson played just terribly. It was like watching a totally different player. And I think Sean Payton is, Russell Wilson's got to be, he's got to be the happiest dude in football. His career now has a chance to get back on track because Denver's got weapons. Denver is an attractive city that will bring people and free agents and attention. Now with Payton there, obviously they're going to put up offensive numbers, and I think he'll get Russell Wilson right. I think he'll get the best out of Russell Wilson. There was an interview that resurfaced from Payton a couple of months ago working on Fox. He was on Colin Cowherd, and weekly he would go on with Cowherd. And these were some of the best I've ever seen Payton in media. And obviously he was working in media, so he was more open and he wasn't protecting any information and wasn't, really how he was as a coach, where he was tough, man. But in this setting, he was a genius. You could see his mind at work, and you could hear what he was looking at and things that he would change. And Cowherd asked him specifically about some of the struggles that Russell Wilson was going through and what Sean Payton would do to fix him. And he brought up a lot of the things that he did back in Seattle that he did very well. He explained kind of like that naked bootleg that you would always see Russell Wilson kind of banana peel off of a play action fake where you would split the field in half, and he has the arm strength to throw it over the top of you, but he's really athletic, and you kind of give him the opportunity to use his legs. I don't know how much that's a part of his game now that he's in his mid-30s, but he still is that guy. I mean, he's got that type of potential. And, you know, Payton was just kind of drawing back to some of the things that he wasn't seeing with Wilson, that, you know, he thought just if you gave him these things that he was familiar with and that he did really well, that you would start to build his confidence and kind of get him back on track. So he knows the formula. He obviously likes the player. And, you know, I mean, Sean Payton, to me, instantly, once he touches inside your building and starts working with your offense, I mean, they could become a top 5 unit overnight from literally worst to first. It wouldn't surprise me if the Denver Broncos, who were hovering around 29 through 31, 32 last year in offensive production, could be, you know, slingshot into the top 10 under Sean Payton in year one, because they already have, they've got tools, they've got players, they've got weapons. And adding Payton to the mix with, you know, Russell Wilson, who's just 1 year removed from playing at a very high level. Now, the 1 year he was in the gutter, but with somebody like Payton working with him and understanding what his strengths are and giving Wilson. And I think also Payton will probably be good for Wilson in the way that he deals with his teammates and deals with the locker room and deals with the media and deals with the public. Like, hey, man, quit trying to be somebody you're not. You know, just embrace who you are and win football games. Just be a football player. And maybe he's the leader that he needs right now just in his life. You know, I mean, I think Payton has seen enough in football and has enough success stories built up. I mean, for a while there, Payton was as much of a player's coach as I can ever remember in the league. I mean, he's had some fallouts now. I mean, him and Mike Thomas obviously had some type of fallout, but for a minute, it looked like him and Thomas were like a band of brothers. They were like wearing Jordans the same. They were wearing the same Jordans. They were always kind of having like a handshake on the sideline. I mean, it was strange to see how that relationship really fell apart. But I mean, Payton was also the guy in the locker room that was leading the victory dance parties, and, you know, a guy that was really adjusting the offseason to the veterans and being a player's coach in a sense where you got the feeling like they really, really liked him. Like they really, really appreciated him and wanted to play for him. And, you know, that's tough to do on that level in a locker room full of millionaires.
Tom Brady just retired on his Instagram.
Really?
Yeah. I guess he woke up feeling like it was done.
Can you bring this to life?
Yeah.
So, breaking news here this morning. Tom Brady is retiring from football.
Hanging it up.
Do we believe this?
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. I think you only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
Maybe so.
He sounds like he's done.
Maybe so. Brady's a crier.
I know he is. Big crier.
That felt genuine.
It did. It felt like you could tell he's done.
Yeah.
Like it's
over.
Yeah, like I know it's over too.
It felt over.
Yeah. I mean, that last game you could kind of see it wasn't the same Tom Brady.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. There were rumors out there that maybe like San Francisco, maybe Las Vegas.
Yeah. I think
It's over, man.
Yeah. You can't do it.
What a career. What a career.
When did he get drafted?
The greatest of all time.
What year?
He got drafted in 2000.
Oh, God. I was 4 years old when he got drafted. Or it's probably 3 because the draft's in April. And he's been in the league since then. I'm 26. Like, that's... I mean, it's not many people that can do that.
I still remember where I was for the snow game. And kind of like that's...
The Tuck Rule game?
The Tuck Rule game. We were in... It was the first time I ever went to Las Vegas.
Oh, God.
And we were like gambling on everything. Everything that we could see, we were trying to gamble on. And the Tuck Rule game was happening in Foxborough, and the play was the under, coach, right? I mean, just like dump on the under. I mean, like,
give me Tom
Lord,
Brady.
Look at the weather. I mean, like, and nobody knew who Brady was at this point.
Yeah, he was like, was this like when he first started kind of?
This was
when
his
Bledsoe
first
got hurt?
year. You know, this was his first year as a starter. So like Bledsoe had gotten hurt earlier in the regular season. They had put him in. They had gone on this run. They're in the playoffs. This was actually the divisional round. Mm-hmm. This was not the AFC title game.
Yeah. Charles Woodson.
Yeah. Because they played Pittsburgh in the AFC title game, and Brady got knocked out of the game, and they put Bledsoe in. And going into New Orleans for the Super Bowl in 2001, they were kind of like, internally, they were like, did Bledsoe maybe get his job back? You know, like, because Bledsoe was a $100 million quarterback at the time. I mean, like,
one of the first of his kind.
I think he was the first. I think he was the actual first to get $100 million. If he wasn't the first, he was the second.
Yeah.
And Brady just went in there and sniped his job. I mean, like, he totally sniped it. I mean, like, it came to a point where if you watch the they have a great series on the NFL Network that tells the story of Super Bowl teams, and it's goes back and like interviews some of the key figures of, you know, the head coach, the quarterback, the Super Bowl MVP, the best offensive line, whoever it was. But they go back to that 2001 team that Brady came in on, and Belichick like tells the story of like who he was going to call for the Super Bowl quarterback, like, and Brady like tells it like Belichick like never blinked, like he was like, you're our guy, like don't read into anything, don't worry about it, you're starting. You're the one. And Brady was like, you know, it did so much for him at such a time when he was so young.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go back and watch that game, Brady is a baby. Like, he is a baby-faced quarterback.
Like, no hair.
But in the moment, he is Tom Brady. On that fourth quarter drive where they go get the game-winning field goal from Vinatieri, Brady is Tom Brady. You can see it. There's a part in it where he stops the clock and he spikes the ball and he catches it with like one hand, and like even John Madden in the moment is like, wow, this young guy Tom Brady is playing this thing pretty cool, you know, like, I mean, it is like, it's no sweat to him at the time. Nervous. I mean, he's giving you kind of a glimpse into the future of, this is who I am. Like, the moment will never ever be too big for me. Even in a Super Bowl, even in my first one on a national stage. That was the first Super Bowl after 2011, after 9/11. After 9/11. I mean, it was a very emotional, very just enormous day.
Intense.
It was, man. I mean, it was a huge scene. I mean, Tom Brady, man. I will always respect the hell out of Tom Brady. I mean, like, Brady was one that he was the best. I mean, I think that he is. He'll go down. I mean, rings, barring the rings, I think the rings argument obviously puts it over the top.
Yeah, but just his greatness on the
Just
field.
the style and
Right.
the demeanor. I mean, remember Peyton Manning in his prime was everybody talked about Peyton Manning as this robo quarterback. You could not build a better quarterback in a lab. And Peyton Manning was ass whipped by Tom Brady every single year. I mean, Manning in his prime, the guy that was throwing 50 regular season touchdowns or whatever it was, and league MVP, and his teams were, 13-2, 14-1 going into the playoffs just to get roadblocked by Brady, Belichick, and the Patriots. I mean, and when it came down to those games, like a lot of them weren't even close. Like they would embarrass Manning to a point where Brady would outplay him, Belichick would out-scheme him. It was, that's where the legend of Brady grew for me. I mean, the stories in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and Boston, I'm sure, are epic. But I mean, as a national sports fan and watching Brady come into his own, I think watching that Super Bowl in 2001, watching that run with Brady as a youngster and kind of watching him, where you always kind of like waiting for the gas to run out of the tank. We're like, when is this thing going to stop? I mean, this guy is a 6th-round pick who does not have the physical attributes that you look for in a quarterback. When is this thing going to come to, like, when's the dream going to stop? Yeah. And Brady was one that just, he got so much better over time, man. I mean, that year him and Randy Moss had together.
Oh, my goodness.
Was that 2007?
Yeah, it was 07. Either 07 or 08.
I mean, where they went 18-0. They went 17-0 to get to the Super Bowl.
Lose to the Giants.
And lose to the Giants. And if you go back to that game, they have a play on the last drive of the game where Randy Moss runs a go route.
He's open.
And Brady uncorks it. And, I mean, dude, it was like...
breadbasket.
Oof. But they were so fun to watch, man. And I still remember Brady and the Patriots coming in on a Monday night during the Saints Super Bowl run, where that was the big test for the Saints. Like, are they for real? Because Payton early on would tell you, the standard is the Patriots. That's what they're trying to emulate. That's what they're trying to bring to New Orleans, was a consistent winner that you would go to the playoffs year in, year out. It wasn't a question whether or not you were going to make the playoffs. It was a question whether or not you're going to win the league. And they came in on a Monday night, and that game, they beat the hell out of Brady. I mean, that's back when, like, you could hit the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, they started to change the rules during that time.
And, like, you could hit him without,
oh,
like,
man. I mean, if you remember that year, that was the year that they peeled back on Kurt Warner.
Oh, God. They tried to kill
in the
Kurt
playoffs.
Warner.
That was the last play of Kurt Warner's football life. I mean, a lot of people thought Kurt was dead on the Superdome floor.
Like, look, I'm out, Kurt.
Who was that big defensive end that hit him? Went to he was from Florida, and he used to wear the he wore like the Florida colors. Oh man, he was on. He was the defensive end that took Kurt Warner's head off in that divisional round game. H-Town Creole, I guess the rest of the show will be about Brady. No, it won't. It won't. I just wanted to give some reaction, man. In fact, here in 7:30, we're going to hook up with Billy Embody and get his thoughts on National Signing Day. It's crazy. Bobby McRae.
Killer. I was about to say, that's a killer.
Had the visor.
Dark visor, probably.
Dark
too.
visor. He had the cage face mask.
I knew it. I could see him right now.
Just
I'm getting out of the way.
Big, long. But we're going to talk to Billy Embody coming up here in the next couple of minutes. As we said, National Signing Day. Not expecting LSU to be too active here on National Signing Day, but there will be some stories to watch. So we'll talk to Billy about those coming up here. Coming up, remember, Daily, we're brought to you by RMB Builders. Rhett Bourgeois and the crew over at RMB, rmb-builders.com is where you can find them online. You can also hit them on Instagram if you're looking for them on social media. All of their projects on social media for you to check out on Instagram. So make sure and give them a like and follow over on IG. RMB Builders, RMB-Builders is where you can find them on Instagram and where you can find them online to keep up with the latest. If you need a custom design home, if you want a reconstruction of the house that you're living in, you need to add on something, get in touch with RMB, rmb-builders.com, rmb-builders.com. All right, we're going to talk about National Signing Day coming up here. Jacques going to be here at 8 o'clock. Pelicans fall again last night. Pellies are skidding here as last night Nikola Jokic had his 16th triple-double of the season as the Denver Nuggets lit up the Pelicans 122-113 as McCollum, C.J. McCollum had 21. Herb had 21 as well. But that's the 9th loss for the Pelicans. In fact, they finished the month of January 3-13. Barf. Oof. They play at Dallas on Thursday night. They will play. They'll play Luka, who Luka's coming off of a 50 burger the other night over Detroit as he was smacking to the bench.
Did you see him?
Yeah, he was talking trash to the assistant coach. I love Luka.
Me too.
I love Luka.
It's like I always wonder: is he talking in Slovenian or is he talking like? Is he speaking English?
He's probably talking in English.
Oh God!
I mean, there is that great clip of Kobe and Luka talking Slovenian to each other.
It's like, is that how he's talking trash?
Yeah.
Just imagine that. I don't know what he's saying. I'm getting mad though.
All right, we're going to talk to Billy Embody next year on the Jordy Culotta Show coming up here on Driven and Powered by Go Chevrolet. Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. National Signing Day. Doesn't have the punch it once packed back in the day. This used to be Christmas morning as far as college football. It was one of the days early in the winter that gave you an opportunity to knock off of work, head downtown, start boozing before the sun came up, celebrating 17 and 18-year-olds signing and faxing in letters of intent from all over the country. Billy Embody covers that for On 3 alongside of our friend Shay Dixon. They have a great podcast together. Shay will be in here Wednesday this morning for his weekly podcast over here at FM Digital Media, the Recruiting Hour with Shay Dixon. But Billy Embody is somebody who we go to as well. Bill, good morning. How are you? We're doing all right. We're getting the volume here figured out real quick. We're going to talk to Billy about Juwan Johnson. Billy, obviously the four-star athlete out of Lafayette Christian, decided on a top 3 and said that the decision is made. That'll be coming today. What are you expecting from the Southwest Louisiana native?
So I think he is going to announce on Saturday. There was a little mixed up with his graphic that went out. So I do think he's going to announce on Saturday, unless I missed something this morning
You are
early
right.
on.
You are right. You are right.
Okay. All right, cool. You had me worried there. But Florida, Colorado, and LSU made the finalists for Juwan Johnson, who's a quarterback at LCA. He's a terrific high school quarterback. But at the next level, he's probably going to play corner, probably a nickel. He's about 5'11" or so, 170 pounds. He really looked good at LSU elite camp for somebody who doesn't play corner regularly. Even for LCA, he doesn't play both ways. He plays quarterback. And so he's somebody that LSU was among the many schools to really get in on early on, offer. He blew up this summer and did so on the camp circuit and through some of the testing. You know, he isn't somebody that has elite top end speed from a verified perspective right now, but his change of direction is what really stands out, being that slot corner type for the next level. That's what people really like about him. And LSU's been recruiting him really, really hard. But over the last month, he's taken visits to Florida, Texas, and Colorado, and he hasn't been back to LSU. That said, LSU is still very high on his list. LSU's trying to get him on board, but he's fresh off that Colorado visit. And Deion Sanders has a little bit of recruiting momentum right now. Even though it's still 10 months away from the early signing period for the next class, I could see at this point it being Colorado, but there's still a few more days where LSU can burn up those phone lines, keep trying to, work him and let him know, hey, we really want you. We just haven't seen you on campus, so we're surprised by this. Let's reassess or, come back after the dead period and swing through, because he'd been a constant visitor in Baton Rouge. So for the staff that didn't necessarily feel like they were in a bad spot for Juwan Johnson, I think anyone would tell you that this decision is still somewhat surprising, despite him kind of wanting to do it relatively early. He never even swung through Baton Rouge for just a reconnection with the staff. So it was just a little odd, just the whole timing of it, which gives you the feeling that Colorado probably has some momentum behind him coming off of that visit. But again, LSU has kind of been a favorite in this one for a long time. So we'll see if he does end up picking LSU on Saturday. It would be because they really worked those phone lines and were able to, get him on board.
What sort of presence has Coach Prime been able to establish in Louisiana as Colorado's head coach? I know he's dipped in here and hired a couple of LSU former assistants. What's the impact been since he's been announced at Colorado?
Yeah, I think it's definitely early, and he's offered some players out of Louisiana and tried to get some of those recruiting relationships going. Corey Phillips is there, Pat Hill's there. Those are the two guys that he had hired away from LSU, and Corey got a promotion, and so did Pat Hill, so it made sense for them. But we'll see kind of how this all, goes over the course of a full cycle or 2 cycles, because it is hard to see sometimes Louisiana guys going off that far to Colorado. I think Tackett Curtis is going to USC. That's really the one that really stands out as far as guys that are going far, far away. Kyron Bourda out of St. Aug is going to Arizona State. But, as far as recruiting someone really, really start to finish hard to kind of win out, it doesn't usually work out that Louisiana guys end up going off far, far away. They end up finding a spot regionally for whatever reason, at least, from how I've seen it. So, they have two guys that are pretty well respected there at Colorado in Corey Phillips and Pat Hill. And of course, Deion Sanders has a lot of momentum behind him since he's taken that job over and with what he did at Jackson State. But it's still hard to see him developing a massive presence in Louisiana and really being able to pull multiple players year in, year out.
Billy, anything in particular that you are watching today? I mean, this used to be a day that was so packed with news. It feels like it's lost so much steam and so much off of its fastball. Is there anything that you're watching today?
Yeah, it's you're absolutely right. At this point, I'm kind of just being a recruiting fan and sitting back and watching the guys that'll announce. Nicholas Harbor, who I've tracked a good bit throughout this cycle, he doesn't have LSU in his finalists, but I'm interested to see where he goes, whether it's Oregon, whether it's South Carolina. But then on the LSU front, Jamel Howard is a big defensive tackle from Chicago that LSU's been recruiting. He's going to announce his decision this afternoon. It seems like, though, he's going to stay closer to home, and my pick is on Wisconsin at this point. So barring some late change there, I think he stays up north where he was once committed as well. So we're watching that one and his announcement. But at this point, it looks like we'll drop some superlatives. We'll drop some thoughts on the class on the board and celebrate what is a top 5 class for LSU. I mean, it's a very, very good 25 players that they've signed from the high school ranks, and then of course the transfer class, which is one of the best in the country as well. So it is pretty quiet today on the National Signing Day front, but trust me, these 2024s are already having us working a little overtime, despite a break coming for a couple weeks from them.
This was a prospect that I was able to watch play in the Dome a couple of weeks back for Destrehan was Kalash Cobbins, who came in a couple of weeks ago and made a campus visit to LSU. Where does LSU stand with him? And I got to imagine he's one of the top targets for the state going into next season.
You're absolutely right. And I think LSU sits at the top for him. Texas is a school that made some waves with him. He's also been to a couple other campuses, but he's one of those Louisiana guys that swung through that last weekend before the dead period. And I think that shows where he's at with his recruitment right now. And he could be someone that jumps on board early. I would feel like he probably takes some official visits, but he's been around LSU a ton. He's really been a priority for Jamar Cain and that whole staff from the get-go, and he's really productive. And I just think he fits in terms of what you want some of these Louisiana prospects that you're going to take to look like. And I'm higher on him than some of the industry recruiting services are right now, but he's got Texas, Michigan, Oregon, Colorado, LSU, and Ole Miss as his top 6 that he just whittled down. So for me, I think LSU sits at the top. Texas is a school that's trying to change that as well, but he's backed it up with his actions that LSU is one of his top schools, and I would feel like the Tigers win out in the end.
Billy, you were able to catch up with some other prospects of 2024, including JoJo Stone, who's a wide receiver here who's committed to LSU. What is this class looking and shaping up like now that we're, they seem to be next up?
Yeah, I got the chance to watch JoJo Stone and Zion Ferguson play for the Louisiana Bootleggers in Miami and talked with both of them. Both of them haven't shut down their recruitments completely. They've got a few visits they want to take. JoJo wants to get to Miami. He talks to Oklahoma. He talks to Georgia. And he's a really explosive player. I love him as a slot type guy for LSU. And in that sense, could probably find a way onto the field early on, just with how fluid and how smooth he is. And then Zion Ferguson is a bigger corner. He's got some length. He's got some size out of another Georgia commit for LSU in that class. He visited Auburn this past weekend. A few other schools are in the mix with him as well. But those guys are two of the longer tenured LSU commitments, and they do seem solid in the sense right now. Obviously, a lot of time to go, and they are going to take some more visits, but both plan to be back in Baton Rouge in March and over the summer as well. When you look at the 2024 class overall, they've got 8 commitments. Maurice Williams is somebody I'm really high on. He's like a big safety, almost a linebacker at this point, who's out of Shadow Creek, which is a really good program in Texas. You've got Colin Hurley, the 4-star quarterback commit. I saw him throw at Battle Miami, and he's really smooth. He's got one of the best releases and arm talents in the class. He doesn't take much off of the football when he throws it. He's got a gun. But he's coming off of a season where his completion percentage was around 54%, I believe. So you want to see that tick up as he gets into his senior year. And then you've got Tavion Galloway, who's a really, really strong recruiter for this class. He was an early commitment over the summer for Mike Denbrock at the tight end position. And then you've got some guys from Louisiana. You've got Wallace Foster, kind of a nickel corner out of Warren Easton. You got Xavier Atkins, who just transferred to Summer Creek in Texas, but he's from Jonesboro and was at Jonesboro Hodge the last couple of years. And then Kayrie Lee from John Ehret is a big offensive lineman they've got committed. I think they're going to start getting on a roll here in March as some of these junior days that they're really prioritizing get going. LSU, the last 2 years now, have kind of been more casual about their 2 recruiting weekends in January. They've had some top targets. They've had some different guys come through, but the big weekends hit in March and hit during spring practice. So I'm excited to see who rolls through Baton Rouge. I know that first weekend in March is already shaping up to be a big one.
Billy, a story that dropped earlier this week, and I wonder the effect that it'll have on recruiting and what you may know about it. LSU announced Bayou Traditions, which is a Baton Rouge-based collective launched to empower name, image, and likeness opportunities for LSU student athletes. That's been named the official collective of LSU athletics, and they're entering into a historic partnership with LSU Sports Properties. This will give the opportunity for NIL to be done in-house. What effect can this have on recruiting, if any?
Yeah, I think it just shows the commitment LSU has to NIL and supporting it and trying to be on that cutting edge of it in that sense. And sometimes the casual fan wants to give to NIL and say, how do I get involved? How do I get involved in recruiting? Well, this is a way you can do that. It's a program that's not only going to benefit football, but going to benefit all sports. And you can, share with the collective where you'd like your money to go. So if you want a beach volleyball player to get some NIL, you can do that. And I'm sure there will be people that do. So it gives you kind of a direct outlet to know where you can support LSU when it comes to not as much. I'm not too privy in terms of their inner workings, but just because of the company that runs it, I do know that it's a little bit more focused towards the athletes once they're on campus. Yeah. So that is important, though, for them to be able to flex that and say, hey, we have this money collection of money for you once you get here. Here's what that looks like. Here's what we can do with it. Those are kind of the things they can sell in recruiting as well via the Bayou Traditions Collective, which is now backed by LSU, so that they kind of have a two-way street on it now a little bit more in that sense. So it's a good partnership. I mean, there are different collectives all over the country that are popping up in different companies that kind of manage them. So for LSU to partner with one, this is really important next step in kind of their relationship with NIL and what that looks like. And I've heard rumblings that they're continuing to grow in the NIL space, and some people are certainly getting motivated on that front to get it going to an even higher level.
Billy, last one, I'll get you out of here. Tonight, Matt McMahon and the crew are in Missouri looking to get off the schneid. They're losers of 8 of the last games. Is there anything on the horizon in recruiting that gives any hope to LSU fans of something coming in? What is the outlook for the program?
Yeah, I think with this class, in terms of how they're going to finish it out, they have Corey Chess committed. They have Mike Williams committed. Those are their two high school players. Corey Chess is from New Orleans. He was the top-ranked player in Louisiana before finishing up his high school career at Link Academy. And then you have Mike Williams, who's an underrated player. He's now a top 100 player on multiple services. So those are the two high school players they have coming in. But I'll say this, I do feel like they're going to tap into that transfer portal to round things out. And as going through this roster reconstruction every year when Will was here, sometimes you hear, oh, well, we think it'll be only 1 to 2 guys we'll try to bring in or what have you, and it ends up being 3 or 4. And I could see that being the case. I think we're going to see a little bit of turnover here because this first year in Baton Rouge, hasn't gone the way they thought, and there needs to be some players that maybe head out and find a different home to finish out college. So I think some honest conversations will be had, and that number that they can bring in the transfer portal this spring will grow.
Do you ever think the Bash could be revived?
Absolutely. I think with the right marketing, the right branding on it, I think it can be. And it just depends on if you want to lean into it during the early signing period and say, we're going to celebrate this group regardless of, let's say LSU had been a finalist for Nicholas Harbor and was going to land him. You wouldn't be able to celebrate that one in December if you did it. You would just announce it. So you're missing out on maybe a splash guy that could really set the Bash off or somebody that's going to announce, but you still have announcements in December during the early signing period. LSU flipped Kamori and Pimpton. They were in it for some other guys as well that announced on that day. So you could do the Bash. I think the branding of it is probably what needs to, you got to get a little bit of feedback probably from some people in terms of what it looks like, but you can absolutely do it. And if you do it right, like you said, a little bit of boozing involved, some good food, get the coaching staff there. And that would be something that I think a lot of people would be interested in. It's just a matter of when do you do it? Do you do it right at signing day? Do you do it right during the early signing period? I think there's an avenue for it as people get out and back, want to do some more, events as things, get back into the swing of things. This is one of those events that I'd love to see brought back, or a caravan version where you get it, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, Houston, Dallas is becoming a huge base for LSU recruiting. So maybe even, somewhere else in the region. I think it'd be a great idea. And you try to, just do it first class and make it a really fun, high energy environment.
Billy Embody from 1-3. Read his work at on3.com and follow him on Twitter at Billy Embody. We'll be checking in soon. Thank you again for your time today.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.
Billy Embody checking in. Check him out on 1-3. Signing day going to be very melodramatic. Going to be very
kind of boring.
Very boring.
Like at this point, it's
very boring. I don't know anybody. I mean, I guess the Harbor kid at one point was flirting with LSU, not LSU in the finalists. I guess I'm just kind of intrigued to see where he goes.
I think he's going to Oregon.
Really?
Yeah, that's the latest.
Because he's a track guy too.
Yeah,
like stellar track guy.
Yeah, so I mean, Oregon sounds perfect for him.
All right, so Jacques going to be here in about 10 minutes. We're going to talk to Jacques about some upcoming things like baseball season getting going for LSU. We'll talk to him about the LSU basketball game tonight at Missouri as the Tigers are on the road in a very tough place to play at Missouri. We will talk to Jacques coming up about that. LSU women's basketball the other night. What was Jacques' experience from that incredible atmosphere with over 15,000 on hand to watch LSU take care of Tennessee? Now they'll have to turn around and do it to Georgia coming up tomorrow night. We will talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, get back to this Sean Payton news where Payton is now in Denver. And for the Saints, they were able to recoup that number 1 pick that they shipped off to Philadelphia. But they get it in the form of the 29th overall selection. So late in the first round, they do pick up a second-round pick next season from the Denver Broncos. Of course, the Broncos in return get Sean Payton and the rights to the head coach. The Saints did shovel over a third-round pick next year, which I don't think that was too smart. I think that was kind of dumb. I just don't get that part. Like, whoa. They want the coach. They want the coach. You're the one that needs the draft picks. You're the one that needs to build the future. They don't give them up. But, like I said, I think first for this year was a must. I would have loved to have seen a number 1 next season, but you get a number 2, so you make the best out of that. And that's ultimately the value of Sean Payton. We've seen these coaches' trades before, right? I mean, John Gruden, obviously, I think is the most famous one. A Super Bowl came out of that one for Tampa. Bruce Arians was traded to Tampa Bay from Arizona. Another Super Bowl that came via that trade. It's also happened with guys like Bill Belichick has been caught up in trades between the Jets and the Patriots. Mike Holmgren between the Packers and the Seahawks. I mean, they've had some coaches and some history with these types of trades in the NFL. Some of them have worked out, like we mentioned, I think Gruden being the most notable when he was shipped from Oakland to Tampa Bay and turned around in his first season and was the head coach for Tampa versus Oakland in the Super Bowl, where the Buccaneers and that ferocious defense kind of ran to a Super Bowl title. But Payton is now the Denver Broncos coach, and he's going to be trying to get Russell Wilson's career back on track. I think it's a great fit for Denver. I think that Payton is going to immediately make that offense into something that is very respectful and something that you're going to have to defend against and bring Russell Wilson back to life. I don't know if he'll bring him back to his peak form where he was in Seattle, but I think that he'll definitely make him a quarterback that you will, we won't be making fun of Russell Wilson every week like we were, I think, under the direction of Sean Payton. All right, so the Carpool Queen is here. We will talk to Jacques here in a couple of minutes. Come back with us, hour 2 of the Jordy Culotta Show, every day brought to you by Katie's Restaurant, our friends down in New Orleans, Katie's Restaurant on Iberville Street. If you're looking to get a taste and a feel for New Orleans, check out Katie's Restaurant. Scott Craig, our friend down there, has done a tremendous job of creating a taste and a feel for the city. It's been around since 1984. The menu has everything that you're looking for on it. If you're looking for fresh seafood po' boys, if you're looking for a great lunch spot, if you're looking for St. Louis-style pizza, whatever you may be looking for, they've got it for you down at Katie's on Iberville Street. Jacques is here. We'll bring him into the studio next. Hour 2 coming at you. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at jordyculotta.show.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Question in that game. You're listening to the Jordy Culotta Show live on YouTube. Catch it every day, 7 to 9 a.m., wherever you have internet access.
Oh, my guy, the host of Mac and Cube.
You said you wanted me to close it out.
I listen to his pod every day on WJOX 94. I thought I was going to beat Charlie. I didn't. You were fantastic as always. Have a great call in Missouri. I'll see you soon, man.
Thanks, man. Good
Later.
talking to you, Jordy.
Always. There he is. Cole Kubelik, the absolute best. Don't overthink it, ABC. When you move to a primetime slot and the SEC is getting that billing, make this man the color commentator. He's the absolute best.
Ooh, I mean, what a pro.
What a pro.
I remember telling them, hey, listen, my job here is to make sure that we bring, big time football to a small town environment, right? And so you see on movies sometimes about the way a town reacts to the football program and what it means to everybody. And that was the hopes and dreams that I had for the place. And so our kids take a distinct responsibility in wearing that Z on their helmet. It means a lot to them. And then on the flip side of that, our community does a tremendous job of supporting our program, supporting the athletic department, supporting our school as a whole. And there's really a great relationship there that's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Thank you for the access, man. Looking forward to tonight. We'll talk soon.
Coach, wait, before you go, fix your hair again one more time.
Look at him.
Let's go here.
Look at him.
What do you think about that?
Game day,
what do you
baby.
think about that?
Game day. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it, man. Great to see you. Thank you.
You too, guys. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.
All right, man. There he is. There he is. My guy. David Brewerton checking in. What does Harold Perkins do for this defense? What does he allow you guys to do?
Yeah, Perk, man, he's just so raw, man. Like, all he know how to do is make a play. But I love him. He brings a certain type of juice to the defense, and he's right alongside of me on the edge. He knows how to rush the edge. As a young guy, that's very valuable to the defense, being able to rush the edge, making the quarterback step up. But yeah, they put him everywhere, middle linebacker, outside rusher, maybe sometimes he's going to be in a drop. So he's very versatile for our defense.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live here on this Wednesday. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, and comment button as we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet every single day. Appreciate our friend Billy Embody for stopping by in hour number one. National Signing Day, as we said, does not pack the punch that it once did. As Embody said, he's covering a couple of national stories, nothing here locally to really look out for. So we'll talk to that with Jacques, who's in studio every Wednesday. Carpool Queen is here.
Hey, Jacques.
Good morning.
Good morning, Katie.
Why isn't
Jordy?
National Signing Day a big thing anymore? I mean, it's been overshadowed by like 5 other stories this morning. I'm like, wait, it's National Signing Day?
Well, the early signing day in December takes a lot of the punch out of
Yeah.
it. I'd say about 70% of the punch out of it.
Feels like it's more now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm not really.
I mean,
What's LSU looking at today?
I don't think anybody.
A defensive lineman from Michigan.
Like who's a 3-star or something?
Yeah.
I think I read.
Oh, yeah. Who is that?
So,
Do you know who it is? No. Okay.
Tells you.
It does tell you.
Exactly.
the story.
I don't
Signing
exactly
day?
know.
I mean, locally we have a lot of high schools that have kids signing that we go out and cover. But as far as LSU goes, I don't really think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
today.
Right.
Jamel
Now
Hyde.
the transfer portal also, obviously. After LSU signed what seemed to be 20 defensive tackles out of the transfer portal,
Right.
restocking their team. So, but yeah, we'll get out to a lot of local high schools today and show the kids signing. So,
I mean, do you remember this day? What it was? I mean, obviously you do. I mean, we would cover this day so many.
Oh, yeah.
This was like Christmas morning for college football fans.
yeah, I can remember, Steve Schneider, the sports director, the sheet, just of all the places we needed to go and who was going to go each place. I mean, I remember I'd go to 4 or 5 stops. And then, whoever the other sports person was, go to 4 or 5 stops. We get some other news photographers involved. And then there used to be the LSU recruiting the Bayou Bash.
That's what I'm talking about.
That went
back.
away.
I don't know if you heard, but we're bringing it back.
You're bringing it back?
Yeah. Do you want in? Do you want to be on my committee?
Sure.
Really?
We're going to the River Center, LaBerge. Where is it going
We got to go to River Center.
Yeah, we got to do it right.
I mean, River Center was when it was at its peak, right?
They asked me to introduce Les Miles at the Bayou Bash.
Oh, God.
2005. It was right after his first year, so into 2006. I've never spoken in front of that many people in my life. I mean, it was far as the eye could see. I mean, it was 5,000-6,000 people there.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, it used to be.
I would have passed out.
I've heard the stories.
It was a good event to go for like the last hour or so. I mean, if you're sitting there all day drinking beer and just kind of like watching names go up on a screen and stuff, I guess that's fun. But, the last part was kind of.
It was just like a built-in excuse to miss work and school. I mean,
Yeah.
That's really kind of what it became.
Yeah.
It was almost like a holiday.
Like NCAA tournament vibe to it.
Yeah, it did.
Sports in the daytime.
Absolutely.
I'm going to skip work and
Right
drink.
in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess to revive it, you would have to bring it back in December because the February National Signing Day. I mean, there's no.
And you're going up against Christmas then.
Right.
And,
And
stuff,
you're still
so-
in season.
Right.
You're still kind of in the football mode. The beautiful part about today was that it was like, wait, are you talking about college football today? It was kind of like a day that you could like steal to go back and talk about college football.
Yeah, one of the craziest days. I remember covering National Signing Day, and I think the next morning getting on a plane to go to Miami to cover the Saints in the Super Bowl. That was that was a crazy time. And then a lot of times you had an LSU basketball game that night too. So it was just this amazing sports day. And Southern would have their party at night, and they would always draw a big crowd for that. And so it's a time that's kind of come and gone to an extent with that. And I liked it better in early February because I think signing days messed up the bowls. It's messed up coaches getting fired earlier maybe than they should be and all that and sped all that up and the chaos. So anyway, it is what it is now.
Speaking of Saints and Super Bowl, their Super Bowl winning coach is now the Denver Broncos coach. They get a first-round pick in return, a second-round next season. What did you make of the news?
I've thought about this, Jordy. I want to talk to you about it. So if Sean Payton wins the Super Bowl or does well in Denver, I don't think I'm going to have the feeling of, what could have been. And, he was our guy and all. I mean, it's not like Nick Saban, who was here for 5 years and then left and then kind of hit the peak of his career with somebody else in the same division. We had Sean Payton for a long time, and it came to an end, and it's time to move on. And it's time to find a new coach or, do well with the current coach and get a new cast of characters. I mean, he was the head coach for 15 years. I'm never going to downplay anything Sean Payton did. We've got these simplistic sportscasters on Twitter saying, well, he only won 1 Super Bowl. Well, Bill Parcells, as much as he's revered, won 2. Right. And Brett Favre won 1. Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers he's a bad man. He's won 1. It's hard to win these things. All right, and I don't blame Sean Payton for the defensive back blowing it during the Minnesota Miracle. I don't blame Sean Payton for the officials not throwing the flag against the Rams. I don't blame Sean Payton for the Saints giving up that touchdown against the 49ers, the worst week of Louisiana football ever. Monday, LSU gets shut out by Alabama.
That's right.
And then Saturday, the Saints blow it against the 49ers to close out 2011 when they would have hosted the NFC Championship game against the Giants and probably blown them out of the water and gone again. But anyway,
That's probably their best team.
There's a lot of guys, and Sean Payton blew it off. He got asked one time, and he's like, you are what your record is, and the 2009 team won the Super Bowl, and the 2011 team didn't. But there are numerous guys that played on both teams that said the 2011 team was better than the 2009 team.
Are you saying Sean Payton peaked here with the Saints?
Well, I'm not saying that. I mean, people age differently. I'm not just saying that to make myself feel better. But, Archie Bunker, Carroll O'Connor in the 70s, he was in his 40s when he played that role.
Wow.
Yeah, he looked like 60-something.
He looked like Tom Benson at the end of, Tom Benson.
Wow, he was 40.
He was in his 40s like that. He was like 43, 44 or something, So people age differently now. So Sean Payton's not even 60, so he could coach another 10 years. I don't know.
Man, I think overnight Denver Broncos are respectful again.
Really?
Oh, man. At certain points of the season last year, they had the #1 defense in the league, but they had the 32nd ranked offense in the league. This guy, by showing up, waking up today as your head coach, puts you in the top 20.
I mean, they had a coach that couldn't even call a timeout.
He didn't know what he was doing. I mean, this guy he's a genius. He's a football genius. And I'm with Jacques. I agree with Jacques. I have got no ill will. I'm pulling for Sean Payton when he's not playing against the Saints. I want to see him succeed for what he did for New Orleans football, for the Saints. If you don't respect Sean Payton, then you were not a fan of the Saints or did not know the history of the Saints before he got there. Yeah. I mean, they were a joke. They're the New York Jets of today. I mean,
quick history lesson, all right? From 1967 through 2005, the Saints won one playoff game. Hakeem dropped the ball.
That's right.
That one. Yeah. That's it. How many division titles? 2. 1991 and 2000. Sean Payton won 7 division titles, 4 in a row at one point. He won 9 playoff games, went to 3 NFC championship games, and obviously won the only Super Bowl the franchise has ever had, and averaged 10 wins a year. His worst year was 7-9, which they did, I think, 4 times or something like that.
I could argue he saved the franchise from leaving New Orleans. Because if they come back in 2005 after Katrina and they're a mess, they're gone.
Right.
They're gone.
Right.
If that doesn't work out and they are a loser and the fans don't support and they feel like the Saints are trying to get out of the city, it would have turned into a crusade. It would have been a war. It would have been, and it was the complete opposite because Payton in his first season went to the NFC title game.
Yes.
I mean, it made you almost forget about Katrina in a time where you can't even fathom that thought. I mean, what they were accomplishing on the heels of the disaster that was saved the city.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue that. I mean, you could argue that it saved the entire city.
It was a perfect storm, as we've discussed. You draft Reggie Bush 1,000 out of 1,000 times.
Absolutely.
He sold all those tickets. And he was never going to live up to expectations. Paul Tagliabue also saved the Saints. Roger Goodell, at his press conference in Miami for the Super Bowl, talked about how he played a big role in that too. Like, I don't hate New Orleans like people think I do or whatever.
Just hate Sean Payton.
Right. I was thinking about that. Is Denver going to start to get a bunch of
they're about to get right.
But yeah, I mean, what he did in New Orleans, and I was at that NFC Championship game. I remember we did a half-hour special from Ditka's Sports Bar in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
It was called Heaven on the Horizon
on Rush Street.
Yeah, right there. And my trip to Chicago has weighed on me. I don't know how people live up there in the winter. I could never do it. It's depressing.
We talk about that all the time.
I mean, anybody who says New Orleans or Baton Rouge summer or Louisiana summer is worse than winter up north, you are high. There is no shoveling snow every morning, wrecks on the highway, depressing.
They have railings on the fence for you to hold on to if you're walking towards the lake.
It's the wind.
Yes.
It'll blow you away.
It'll blow you over.
But I remember the team bus showing up at the whole hotel in Chicago and just hundreds of Saints fans chanting "Who dat?" and it was magic. I mean, that really is the only playoff game I can think the Saints got blown out of. And they were right in it, missed a long field goal, and it started snowing, and then
it kind of collapsed on them.
We called him Fall Down Fred. Fred Thomas fell down, and then long touchdown. But I mean, every playoff game the Saints were in, and that has a lot to do with coaching. I mean,
absolutely.
If what's his name, Jared Cook, then dropped the ball against the Bucks. I mean, are they in a fourth NFC Championship game? So, and that goes, and Drew Brees and Sean Payton too. Drew Brees over the years has been like, won Super Bowl. I'm like, that run, he threw 0 interceptions in 2009 during that run, and it's not Drew Brees' fault once again. I mean, the Minnesota Miracle. They fell behind early, and Drew Brees didn't play well. But the second half, he carved them up, and that defense was amazing. Threw a 4th and 10 seed to Willie Snead. By the way, have you heard from Willie Snead since he played for the Saints? Not really. Just another one of these million wide receivers Drew Brees played with that, brought the best out of him. So, winning 2 is a big difference than 1. And I really wish they would have won 2. Just like Paul Maneri. I wish he would have won in 2017 because 2 is a big difference than 1. But, it is what it is. There was a lot of heartbreakers. But Sean Payton, best of luck to him. And this is what LSU fans wanted Nick Saban to do. Go over there. Don't stay here.
He did the same exact thing that Saban did to LSU, which is why I will always respect and watch Saban with this type of ire of I will always have a good feeling to Saban because he taught people here how to win. Sean Payton taught people in New Orleans what it takes to win. You say you want to win. You think you want to win.
Yeah.
This is what it takes to really win.
Yeah.
And Saban told people in Baton Rouge, LSU, you say you want to win. You think you want to win. Well, you got to get rid of these people that have been here for 40 years. You know what I mean? You got to get rid of this stigma that sits inside of this facility every single day that you're not going to be allowed to win.
Yeah.
Because you don't support it. And if you want to win, you got to start putting money and resources and things in play that is going to allow it to prosper and win. And I think that's what Payton did in New Orleans as well as what Saban did in Baton Rouge was just open up people's eyes of, look, quit with the excuses.
Yes.
Quit with the pity me.
Yeah.
Quit with the feel sorry for us and get out of your own damn way and just start winning.
Yeah, a lot of similarities at LSU. Hey, we can't play 2:30 CBS games and win in the daytime. We have to play at night.
Exactly.
And Georgia 2003, Nick Saban, okay, this is a bunch of horse, what, we got to win. Sean Payton, same thing. People said the Superdome was buried was built on a graveyard and it was haunted and this and that. Sean Payton's like, look, we got to throw all this crap out the window and win. And to his credit, that first year, nobody wanted to come here coaching. Go to New Orleans after Katrina. Are you crazy? And I think, what's his name? Joe Vitt.
Joe Vitt
was the first coach with some credibility that he landed and then put that staff together. And like I've told you before, 2006 Saints was one of the most fun I've ever had covering a team because it was so unexpected.
It was crazy.
Everything was fresh and new, and these new players. And who's this wide receiver, number 12 from Hofstra? Colston catching all these touchdowns, and the Sunday night win over the Cowboys when they beat the tar out of them, and it was a lot of fun.
The greatest sports experience I have ever had is being in the Dome for the Atlanta Falcons Monday night game in 2006 in the reopening of the Dome. And not only that emotion of that night, but the way they played.
Yeah.
Because that was still so early. Like you were still like, the Saints are back. I don't care what they look like. You know what I mean? And they came out. Remember they ran Devery on a reverse for a touchdown.
Superdome special, they called it, I think.
They blocked the kick, obviously, with Gleason and Drew Brees and Reggie Bush. I mean, it was just like this team. And by week 5 or 6, it was like everybody in the country had fallen in love with them.
I'll never forget that day. It was kind of like the first taste of fall. It was late September. The weather was beautiful.
Oh, it was a beautiful day.
New Orleans listened to WWL. They let school out early. They didn't have even school at all.
That's right.
Driving down to New Orleans, getting out of the car, hearing the Goo Goo Dolls. They were playing down the street that. I could hear
them. It was Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Mardi Gras. Like, there was traffic. I remember, like, finding a parking spot, just creating a parking spot, getting out, walking around, grabbing a drink in the middle of the day, walking in the middle of the street, music going, sun glaring. I mean, it was one of those days where you were like, I don't care if they roll out Vince Lombardi and the Packers tonight. Whoever's on the opposite sideline is getting steamrolled, because Michael Vick was like Michael Vick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he was
and Jim Mora's son was the coach, right?
That's right. Jim Mora Jr.
Of the Falcons.
Yeah.
And I remember standing down there, I'm like, there's Bono. Like, U2,
right.
Green
Oh, yeah,
Day, what's his
absolutely.
name? Billy
Brad
Joe.
Why? Why were so
Because they
many
were
people there?
reopening the dome.
That many people
like
came for that?
it was a. I mean, if you would have rewound
President Bush.
if you were rewound the clock, I mean, 6-8 months. This is not happening.
Right.
This isn't a way that you're bringing football back to the city.
Yeah.
There were roads that weren't drivable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was still a war zone. It was a third world country outside of the Superdome at that point.
Yeah. George, not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent. You know, old Dana Carvey. That George Bush was there.
That's right.
Were there more than one president there? I'm trying to remember. But just amazing. I remember, you had Al Jazeera and all these, like, worldwide. MTV was there.
Yeah.
Anybody
I mean, shit, U2 played in the pregame.
That is wild.
Yeah.
They played in the, before the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a Super Bowl.
A Beautiful Day.
Yeah.
And
then
they did kind of a cover of the what's the old House of the Rising Sun.
Are coming.
Yeah, the Saints are coming became the
That
song.
was cool.
Yeah.
Coming. Like, that place was rolling, man. I mean, it was. I got chills still to this day thinking about. And when Devery scored that touchdown, or I guess it was Gleason that blocked the punt and Hawthorne recovered it for the touchdown, and they played Mardi Gras Mambo in the dome. And when you looked around, people were like surfing on top of each other. I mean, people were hugging, people were crying, it was epic New Orleans. Wow. I mean, it was New Orleans at its absolute finest. And when you thought about it, I mean, you really kind of went to Sean Payton, like that was kind of really building this mentality for the city of quit feeling sorry for yourself. Nobody's coming to help us.
Yeah.
You know
and there
what I
was
mean?
some debate wait, we're going to fix the football stadium. We're going to fix the
Right.
Superdome while all this other stuff's going on. And it was like, yeah, it's that important. And I remember the Falcons that week signed Morton Anderson.
That's right.
And I was thinking to myself, this son of a, he's going to kick the field goal and rip the Saints' heart out,
He's going to kick the game winner.
And I think they blocked. He had a chip shot, and they blocked it and stuff. It was just like everything was like the Falcons had to feel like, thanks a lot for putting us in this spot. Like you said, no one was going to win against the Saints that night. And I think they replayed that game during COVID when we had nothing to do and nothing going on. I think they replayed that game. And everyone was taken back that Sean Payton looked like he was about he 30 years old or something.
Like a baby.
Yeah, baby face Payton,
His ears were coming out of his visor, a little face. I mean, but still intense. Oh, gosh.
23-3, I think.
Really?
It was a low scoring. The Saints didn't score a ton of points, but, the Gleason block punt right off the bat and the Superdome special and stuff. Yeah. Old Devery, man. Devery was he was right place, right time many times in his career.
He was.
Bluegrass miracle. He was a leading receiver for the Saints in the Super Bowl. He caught Drew Brees' when he broke the Unitas record.
That's right.
So
I still think the biggest play he made at LSU was the first play of the fourth quarter at Ole Miss in 2003. Where Malk hit him on the corner route, and he ran, and he, skips away from that guy because the guy tries to trip his ankles.
Yeah.
And that's where I thought, Devery Henderson's probably going to go down as, he's an all-time great. He's probably, for what he accomplished. I mean, he signed as a running back, got converted to a wide receiver while he was here, and turned out to be, on the national championship team, he was the second leading wide receiver behind Clayton.
Yeah. Always two things with Devery, speed and blocking.
Yep.
He
was strong.
He would kick some people's asses.
Yes, he would.
On the blocking.
You didn't want to fight Devery Henderson.
Yeah. And he was just, he was so different from the prima donna wide receiver. You couldn't get 10 words out of him. Yeah. He was a real quiet, soft-spoken guy from Opelousas. Yeah. And
shout out to Ron.
And I remember he won 5 games in his high school career at Opelousas. They were terrible, But
Saban loved him.
Yeah.
Saban would tell you he would talk about like when he would give examples of players, he'd be like, like Devery. He would always kind of reference Devery of somebody who was either doing things right behind the scenes or somebody that he just knew.
Yeah.
He's a football player. Like, we got to have him on the field.
I think some of the first video we have at Channel 9 of Nick Saban is Nick Saban walking around an LSU basketball game. That was John Brady's Stromile Swift year where they went to the Sweet 16. Saban has Coke bottle glasses on, like those big glasses, and he's wearing one of those sweaters, and he's showing Devery Henderson around, like on a recruiting trip or something.
Wow.
So, yeah, Devery used to come. Like, Devery was one of the biggest names we get for the celebrity softball game every year. He would come. And strangest thing, you get a cell phone, you text him 50 times, he'd never respond. And one day out of the blue, hey, I'm coming today. That's how he was.
Yeah.
And just the athletic, like he struck out. I remember his first time at bat because he's probably never done it before. Then the next time he gets up, he hits a softball like 400 feet. You know? It's like this is what athleticism looks like.
That's a pro. I remember watching Will Clapp at your celebrity game. Being like, oh my God.
Yeah, Will came.
I mean, like, he was like golfing, like almost like kneeling down on a softball and like knocking it like opposite out of the park off of like Green Monster attraction. I mean, it was just like,
My distant cousin, Early Doucet, too. Same thing.
Yeah.
Like, first thing, struck out, like, woof, you could hear the wind from, the next time he gets up, he smashes the thing over the, way over the wall.
And then you give like guys like Brandon Bass and Tyrus Thomas a bat, and you're like, how do you earn a check professionally?
Like, how are you?
I mean, like, what are you doing? All right, so Jacques, the other night, earlier this week, Bulky and the crew, 15,129 people, a whiteout on national television, and their 21st victory of the season to set themselves up undefeated and number 3 in the country. What are we watching right now? What was your point of view of that game the other night?
I was thinking about this coming over. I don't know if a women's team has ever had more star power and more like personality and charisma.
Right.
Like, I'm just getting a kick out of Angel Reese yelling at Alexis Morris all the time. I don't know if you saw the clip after the game. They're walking.
Oh, yeah.
Are you a first rounder? Yeah. You got to bring it every night. Every night. You can't turn it off and on every night. Alexis is like, talk to me nice. Talk to me nice. Talk to me nice. And then Flage after the game, at one of the recent wins, kind of like talking real demonstrative to Alexis. And, I went last week when they went to the state penitentiary.
I know. I saw that. I saw what you did, bro. That was awesome.
So they go. I never been
to Angola. Did you ride the bus with them?
What's that?
Did you ride the bus with them?
No.
Okay.
I drove up there. If you've never been there before, it's like a 15, 20-mile road
out
in the middle of nowhere, and you get to the gates and you go inside.
The signs, do not pick up hitchhikers.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. I mean, it's out there, and I didn't go and see the cells and stuff like that, but they go in and they handpick the more trustworthy inmates.
That's what they call them, trustees.
Right. So, they walk in and all the inmates are like, Kim Mulkey, hey, Coach Mulkey, And then they were asking, where's Flage? Flage didn't go, but like that's a lot of people know her as that rapper.
Yeah.
Right.
And she plays basketball too. So there's that star power. And then Angel Reese, she's got this great personality and she's a great player. And she went in there and she talked to all these inmates. And, it was like after a while you felt like you're at the YMCA, really. Just a bunch of guys playing basketball. And so, but yeah, and you've got, obviously it starts with the coach. Everybody knows who Kim Mulkey is. And so yeah, a Monday night where this time of year, you kind of like the sun goes down early, the weather's crap, you just kind of want to go home. And for 15,000 on a Monday night to come out. Now look, some people say, okay, the capacity's 13. How'd they get 15? I kind of heard, okay, they sold 13,000. And then they assess how many people are in the building. Mm-hmm. And then maybe 2,000 of the 13 didn't make it. And so then they sell 2,000 again to the students or whoever. And that's where you come up with 15,000 in the building. So anyway.
Well, as she explained it yesterday, is that they wanted to leave some for the walk-up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like in the pre-sold, like 3 days before the game or something, they cut off the sales and wanted to save some for the walk-up. So, that's obviously something she was proud of because she was promoting it yesterday.
Yeah.
But, I don't care how you got there.
Oh no, I mean it used to be.
And I'm not critical to what you're saying, but you've seen it.
Oh,
I mean, like that place was a morgue.
I'm like, was 15,000 the year total?
Right.
The year before she left, but the year,
I don't even know if they got to 15K cumulatively.
Oh no,
the year before they got there. It was major league spring training.
Oh, you could fire a shotgun and not hit anybody. I mean, there was just a sprinkling of people that were going. And they were okay with it, too. It's like, they come out, big smile on their faces, and all right, here we go. It's like, this place is empty, no one cares.
Echoing. You know what I mean?
And you'd seen it the way it had been before. And so I don't want to pile on the previous staff or whatever, but, you had a decade, and it was time to make a change, And so, and I think they've got 2 home games left. They've got a game against a dangerous Georgia team on Thursday.
Yeah, you could hear the respect that she has for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're playing well. And then your regular season finale, I think, is at home on a Sunday. I would expect that game to be sold out also. And they're going to host.
Isn't it Mississippi State?
Mississippi State, that's right. Maybe you should go.
I will.
So yeah, it's exciting, and she has fed, and this is a compliment. She's fed the monster way too quick. Where people are saying, "I can't wait to see him play South Carolina," where Dawn Staley has been there a long time, and talking about that game, which is a week from Sunday,
Super Bowl Sunday,
1:00 in the afternoon. Some people say, "Well, that's stupid. Why'd they do that?" Actually, it's smart.
It is very smart.
A lot of people are inside watching TV and who don't want to watch 15 hours of pregame might click over and say, oh, there's these 2 powerhouses playing. You get a big rating. And so South Carolina's got like a 6'4" girl, a 6'7" girl, and
they're loaded.
I'm concerned about, and I'm not saying they're going to play dirty. I would do the same thing. Hey, go rough up Angel Reese. Give her some elbows, make it hard on her, and make the guards beat us. Now, Alexis showed us the other night that when Alexis turns it on, she can go, and Flage and and I saw Alexis after the game. People compared her to Allen Iverson, and I told her that, and she said, "Oh, she liked that because she's a big Allen Iverson fan." And we have the same story. She said, and everything. The smallest person on the court driving in and taking over the game. So, it's just a lot of fun. It's exciting to cover them.
Speaking of covering, the coverage is about to kick up on baseball, and this team's got some star power. Man, I mean, I looked at Baseball America's preseason All-American squad. LSU, the only team with 4 representatives. Trey Morgan, Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, and Tommy Tanks are the 4 names on this. I guess from our vantage point, this is going to be a fun team to cover, at least going into the season. They got some personalities on them, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, you start with Dylan Cruz, who's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, they believe, and just totally humble guy, like does not give off any kind of air of arrogance. And then you got Trey Morgan at first base, those 2 guys, and then Paul Skeens from the Air Force Academy, who they feel like can be a pitcher of the year candidate and a Friday night starter. 1,000% is what Coach Johnson said.
Wow.
Him right off the bat, you put him in the Friday night role, and some of these other pitchers they got. I went and watched Thatcher Hurd pitch on Saturday in the scrimmage, and he was shoving, striking out Tommy Tanks and Dylan Cruz and all those guys. He did give up a home run to Braden Gilbert and to right field when I was there. But, a lot of star power on the team, a lot of high expectations. Jay Johnson, I think, is speaking at the Rotary Club today at noon. He doesn't do a whole lot of those, so it's kind of special when he does. So, I mean, it's a long season. There will probably be a crisis along the way. There'll probably be, I mean, me just covering this for all, there'll probably be a 3-game losing streak or a midweek loss or something where people are going to panic and, oh, my God, But it's a long year. You just got to let it play out and see what happens. The good news is you're number 1. The bad news is there's like 6 teams in the top 10 from the SEC.
Right.
So it's the usual story.
All right, so what's coming up this week on the desk?
By the way, real quick, I almost forgot. So I posted Kim Mulkey talking about no cap with Flage like a week ago. Y'all know what no cap means? 1.6 million views on my Facebook page on that. I tell you, nothing moves the needle like Kim Mulkey.
Well, we've partnered with Tailored Technique, who is Taylor, a guy that's shooting for us in-house. He's doing some work with Gordon now.
Yeah.
And he's going to all the women's games for us, and he has that clip.
It's so good.
It's got 7.5 million views on it.
I've watched it probably 20 times.
I mean, it's... and counting.
Yeah.
I mean, yesterday it had 4.5 million.
It's amazing.
I mean, it's in the algorithm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's in the meta.
It's
I mean,
so
it is.
good. Have you seen it? It's like slow mo.
It's just
her
a
on
slow
the
mo
court,
of her
just,
reaction
like,
on the
just shouting and
timeout.
yelling.
So
I mean,
cool.
when she calls for the timeout off the rebound, they give up an offensive rebound.
Well, I could see it out of the corner of my eye,
And
and I was
She stomps her foot. She goes down and beats the court.
Yeah.
And stomps her foot. It's great.
She calls the fucking timeout. Fucking, you gotta push. And he's like, I mean, she dances on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, like her reactions are. I'm telling you, like, it's underestimated her athleticism still at her age, or the ability just not to wobble.
Oh, well, she broke out the gritty at SEC Media Days, and yeah, I mean, and when she doesn't get a call her way, it's so, oh my God.
Oh, it's unreal. It's unreal. Her reaction. She's
so
jumping. I mean, her hands are
Hair's
going
flying
up.
everywhere.
Y'all got some cool stuff coming up at WAFB. Work done.
Well, and
Award is coming up?
the Work Done Award. We're going to name that at our banquet, and it's going to be a TV show. That's this Monday is the banquet, and then yesterday I sat down with Mason Smith and did a one-on-one with him, LSU defensive lineman coming back.
Yeah.
Revenge tour, as he calls it.
Wow.
And so I visited with him for 33 minutes. That's up at YouTube. Great visit with that guy. And, we'll have a busy day today. And, hey, Southern, the Jags are playing good basketball, too. They're drawing the biggest crowds I've seen in over 20 years here.
That's great.
So it's all good.
JD and the crew, remember, 9 Sports, WAFB, our partner. Make sure and download the app. Keep up with everything. You can also follow him on Twitter, at Jacques Doucet. And every Wednesday, right here with us on the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll be back and close it out here. We'll be back more driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression and anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Hey, Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at JordyCulottaShow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Jesus Christ, that right there is the mail. Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day, okay? I gotta go up to his office. I gotta put his mail in the guy's goddamn hands.
But they've been asking for their mail on a daily basis. It's all they're talking about up there.
Because the mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let-up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you gotta get it up. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in. And then the barcode reader breaks, and it publishes clearinghouse.
All right.
I can't believe I'm gonna be a mailman.
All right, welcome back here to Wednesday edition, closing it out here on this Wednesday. Thanks to Jacques. Thank you to Billy Embody for stopping by. Your mailbag questions to close out. Have a take, don't suck. 225-229-7741. 225-229-7741. Take your text.
Are you laughing at a comment in the chat?
Oh, no. Or the Ogeron shot?
That's what I thought you were looking at.
Hey. Is that right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Text into the show, 225-229-7741. Call into the show. You can ask your questions inside of the chat, and we will get to them. Lloyd's going to be back. Everybody chill out on Lloyd.
Y'all, jeez.
Christ.
I mean, when one of us goes on vacay, y'all aren't act like this in the chat.
Yeah. Lloyd will be back at some point.
He's alive.
He's alive.
He's alive
good.
and very well.
He's employed.
Yeah.
Everybody chill out. All right, have a take, don't suck. Get the phone lines moving here. 225-229-7741. Text into the show. Call into the show. What is it?
I'm reading these comments about this O-Shot.
I know.
I mean, that would be Coach O's thing.
That would be a great marketing tool for O.
Oh, my God.
I mean, like.
Side effects that may include pregnancy. I love that. I love that comment.
Oh, I told you about the O-Shot.
That's so good.
Got $17 million for you.
No, Coach, what you got?
Getting a call already.
Have a take, don't suck. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, okay, Hunter Hall. How are you, buddy?
You, Hunter Hall.
How are you?
How did you know?
I could just tell. You're very
well-
active today.
Well, I'm pretty excited because I'm about to hop on the road to Tuscaloosa for a signing day party down there. And at some point, I'm hoping that they're going to unveil the 2 new coordinators during the event, but that might be wishful thinking.
Who's the lead dogs on this? What's going on? Is Joe Brady real here? What are they going to do defensively?
I think defensively, you got 3 names. You got Jeremy Pruitt.
Wow.
From Tennessee. Yeah, Donald's bag full of cash.
Golly, saving able to bail him out of
I
jail?
was going to say, I thought they couldn't hire Pruitt because of that.
Yeah, so it's either him, Schumann from Georgia, or the co-DC over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Todd Grantham, and that just kind of makes you want to throw up.
Yeah.
But,
Golly, I hope
sounds like safety blitz. Engage 8.
The OC list might be at about 100 names, so they're slowly whittling that down.
I saw Freddie Kitchens' name popping up.
That's on the list too. Yeah, it's nobody knows where they're going to go, but at least Bob's out of town, so that's a
Bob.
Bob fell on his ass.
Oh, Billy
O.B.
O.B.
Job.
Yeah, he failed upwards.
Golly.
He failed
Hey,
upwards.
does anybody watch any more basketball than Will Wade?
No. No.
I don't think so. I mean, you got him talking about culture last week, and he ended up answering a question that I'd asked a couple weeks before. And I don't think people realize this, but I think it's going to be harder. I think it is harder to keep your team together from the previous year instead of recruiting a whole new high school class going forward.
Mm-hmm.
That just the NIL that everybody else is getting, other opportunities at school, at other schools. And I mean, it's a different aspect of the game. And I think it's just another challenge that coaches have to face that obviously wasn't there too long ago.
Yeah, no, I agree with what he said. And I don't necessarily believe that to be culturally relevant in all sports. I mean, I think that, Brian Kelly had to build a culture. But it helped. It really helped that he was winning. I mean, I think that it does go hand in hand. But in college basketball, like you say, the sudden turnover and the numbers. The numbers that you're playing with, I think, kind of that's what that goes to. I mean, year in, year out, you're going to have a brand new team if you're winning.
If you're winning, that's right. That's right. Either the players are going to go on, or they're going to really like what and going to stay there for you. But hey, I appreciate the Huntsville. There was a Huntsville shout out on the podcast last week with them, and then another Huntsville shout out this week. You were talking about Gary Reedus on the women's basketball. He's from right here in Decatur. That's like 20 minutes down the road from Huntsville. I don't know if you knew that. And Cordell, he's up here, and he was talking about Missouri and Kobe Brown last night. That's a Huntsville guy.
He's alive.
He's alive. Hunter, are you watching right now on your
I'm
screen?
not.
Lloyd
I'm
just passed by us.
Yes.
Had to give him a Lloyd cameo.
He's here to clean his desk out.
Like I had one.
Cleaning his locker out.
I paused it because I didn't want to get the background noise.
We appreciate that.
It's a smart listener.
Instructions.
It's a smart listener.
Hey, one thing on women's basketball, and I admit I don't watch too much, but I will say I probably watched 3 or 4 games this year. And on Sunday, South Carolina was in Tuscaloosa. Did y'all see what Dawn Staley was wearing?
No.
I did not.
She was wearing a Philadelphia Eagles jersey, number 1.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts jersey.
Wow.
I did see that. On
What a
Twitter.
troll.
I don't know if that was dumb, a troll. I'm still trying to figure out if it's dumb, a troll, or just obnoxious. But
I go D, all of the above.
Yeah.
Just wow. Just
Hunter,
wow.
thank you. Thanks for listening.
Hey, and I'm not going to bring up the 57 burger last night in Tuscaloosa. Y'all have a good week.
Bye, Hunter.
See ya.
Did they beat y'all?
No, he's talking about LSU basketball getting their ass whooped by Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Couple weeks ago.
What you talking about? Who's y'all?
Have a take, don't suck. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
We had another call coming in, but I couldn't
okay,
take it.
You diverted.
Yeah.
You diverted.
Call
What was
him
the
back.
area code?
504. Probably Clint from the parish.
From the parish.
Calling it back.
They're there.
Hello.
What's your name? Where you calling from? Have a take, don't suck.
Hey, man, if y'all don't know my number by now, Justin Kenner's
How are you? How are you?
Come on.
Look, we get two
That was dumb
504s.
of us,
It's you and Clint from the parish.
We'll
Hey,
see.
hold on a second. I have Sean Payton on the other line. I got to hang up with him first. Hold on. Hey, by the way, tell Lloyd I'm sorry he didn't make the cut for the point guard position with McMahon's team.
Yeah.
That's
tough.
At least he tried, man.
Keep
good,
the jersey
good job,
night.
Lloyd. Good job. We appreciate the effort. And by the way, this Hunter Hall calling and talking about Alabama sports. Are you kidding me?
That's who
Hunter,
he is, Jeff.
Hunter, go to the Gulf station over there and talk Alabama State stuff. Come on, man. Hey, Stewie. Well, we almost had $300 for Make Stewie Mobile again. Yeah. Disappointed in
Stewie Mobile
not
again.
giving more.
Down payment.
At least by the summer. We'll get there.
Well, yeah.
We'll get there by the summer.
We'll keep pumping that. But by the way, hey, Jordy, I know you spoke a lot earlier about the Sean Payton trade.
Yeah.
And I put on the chat, Ross Jackson had a great podcast last night.
Nice.
It's the 22-minute mark of his podcast about the trade. And he really outlines pretty in depth about was it a fair trade, and he gives some details. I won't bore you all to death, but he basically says yes, it was, because one of the things that we're not considering is the Saints had zero leverage in this deal, because if he had not gone to a team this year, next year the Saints were literally screwed as far as compensation. And he goes through all the details of that. It's pretty good. So if you get Ross on the show, maybe you can talk a little bit about that. But it really calmed me down, because I was like, wow, all we got was a 1 and a 2, and we had to give it for 3. What kind of deal is this? And then when I heard it, it really made a lot of sense. So I just want to tell everybody they should take the time to go and listen to that.
Locked On Saints podcast with Ross Jackson, the best. Appreciate that, man. Thanks.
Yes. Hey, by the way, mission accomplished. Mission accomplished, team. We got the Culotta show almost to 9 o'clock today. Let's go.
Right.
Let's go, Bunker.
That's right.
Let's go.
We did it.
Don't get too used to it.
We're getting a call from Detroit, Michigan.
Let's take
They've called like 3 times.
That's our guy.
Do it.
Yeah, that's our guy. I'm trying to remember his name.
Told him I'd call back. I texted him like 4 times.
Hello?
Yo.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in on something about this show you had a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, sir. What you got?
Yeah, it was about y'all was talking about Rocky, a little history lesson, a little nugget y'all probably don't know.
What is it?
Oh, Apollo Creed is from New Orleans.
Is this true?
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers.
Yeah, he went to St. Aug.
Wow.
With St. Augustus. When y'all had that conversation, man, I thought, man, you don't give that man his flowers, man. I call him the best boxer who never boxed.
The best athlete that never played. I mean,
that too. He played pro football. I don't know for what team.
He did
before he went to acting.
I mean,
but he went to St. Aug. Was on St. Aug football team. All that wrestling, and then so he's from the NO. So
he looks like a
that Apollo Creed is from New Orleans, where to St. Augustine.
I appreciate that. Thank you for listening, man.
Yeah, for sure. Y'all my peoples, man. And congratulations on your marriage and your trip, your honeymoon and all that. For sure.
Appreciate that, man.
And another thing, I know my man was, I know he tried to make a shot at Dawn Stanley, but that was my little cute point guard when I was in high school. She is from Philadelphia, man. So
she's from Philly. Okay.
Yeah, so that was, I don't think it was really a troll.
Yeah.
Thing with LSU. I think it really was just supporting our home team.
I appreciate you listening as always.
So y'all take care, man. Have a good one.
All right, man. You too. All right, your mailbag questions. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you being involved. We'll be back. You got one?
One more call.
All right, one more.
This is Baton Rouge.
Remember we'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Today is Wednesday. Mic'd up. Nick Diaz for Out of My League coming up. Make sure you're subscribed to all of those channels to keep up with the latest on them. Mikey got some good baseball talk coming up as the season approaches. We've been telling you about this LSU baseball team. There's really no better place to get the information than Mic'd Up.
They didn't answer.
All right. Sweet.
Wait,
There's a voicemail box.
All right, we'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Appreciate Billy Embody. Appreciate Jacques for stopping by just like he does every Wednesday. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, driven and powered as always by Go Chevrolet.